Hannity, New York Times bestselling book, and his latest book, Live Free or Die: America and the World on the Brink, is already a bestseller on Amazon. Please welcome to the show, Sean Hannity. All right, welcome to the show, Sean Hannity. I've been on your show before, but this is odd for me, suddenly having you on the other side of the camera. Congratulations on another best-selling book. It's been 10 years. Why now?
Yeah.
Why this subject?
Wow. It has been 10 years, and there's a reason, Sean, there's a reason for that. The main reason is writing books is really, really hard. I'm just glad I'm not on Dancing with the Stars that you were on, because that I could never do, nor would I ever wear those clothes, which I gave you a hard time about. Congrats on all your success. I know this is your first professional TV gig, but being a press secretary is a lot harder than anything that we do on TV every day. Look, I'm going to be honest. I started thinking about the book about a year ago, and I can't really explain why. I know some people can live their lives and they don't have this sense of urgency. I always feel like, I just have a 5-alarm fire going off in my head and my heart, my soul about this election, and it was beginning to percolate. And I just started thinking about it. And the first thing I had said in the past was, I'm never doing another book. I didn't want to do another book. It's too much work to do another book. I do the entire audio book, start to finish with Live Free or Die. And the real reason is the moment. But I'll tell you this, I did not know when I first began the process about a year ago, I did not know how right I would be in this sense. I knew this would be the biggest choice election. I knew the mob, the media, your best friends, by the way, I knew that they want to destroy this president. I knew that they would be the biggest campaign contributors to all things democratic, radical, socialist, and they were, and they are, and they're going to continue to be for 89 more days. So, but I didn't see this part coming. Biden always had a good chance of being their nominee. We all know that. I never thought it would be even this big a choice, in as much as we have literally a radical guy already on his own, that of course being Joe Biden, but now he's so weak as a candidate, he didn't go to the center like historically candidates do after they win the primary. He did just the opposite. He didn't have enough strength in his own base. Bernie supporters, Bolshevik Bernie supporters, were not enthusiastic about him. By the way, nobody's enthusiastic about this guy. So he decided, I got to get the base back. So he literally plagiarizes, which he has a history of, all of Bolshevik Bernie's economic plans. Then, as we saw today, he doubled down on AOC's insanity of a new Green Deal. He's promising, now think about this, he's promising socialism of Bernie Sanders, which means higher taxes, and then frankly, confiscation of wealth. Then he's promising trillions of dollars in the new Green Deal. Okay, for what? And also bragging today, again, that he's going to eliminate all of these jobs in the energy sector. Well, those are millions and millions of high-paying career jobs for the first time in 75 years. As you know, the president's finally gotten us to a point where we are energy independent, and we're the world's largest producer of oil. That's us. That's not the Middle East. That's not Putin. That's not Russia. And it's certainly not Venezuela. So he adopts Bolshevik Bernie's economic plan, AOC's insane Green New Deal plan. He adopts, as his gun czar, a guy by the name of Bozo O'Rourke, who wants to confiscate. And then he partners with Pelosi and Schumer. The combined three of them have 125 years of failure in the swamp. We've been having a lot of fun sending Lawrence Jones out on the street on the show. And I say, okay, well, what has Biden done in 50 years that's made America a better place for you? Well, he smiles. He's nice. He seems nice. And, well, he was once the vice president. Nobody can name a single thing that this guy's ever done. So that scares me. Now, the thing that's even more frightening, and I actually put in real statistics and polling in the book about young people, there is a significant part of this country that doesn't know the history, and I have a whole chapter on the history of socialism. It's a history of failure is what I call it. You can go back to China, you can go back to the Bolsheviks in Russia, you can go back to the expansionism of the former Soviet Union and their experiments with socialism, East Germany, West Germany. Where do you think you would have liked to live in the Cold War, right? People were risking their lives getting shot if they tried to leave East Germany. Or more modern day, look at Venezuela, or look what happened in Cuba after the Castro revolution there. It always fails. And so now they're offering every single American, and maybe the reason these young people in the polls that I'm citing in the book, maybe there's an appeal that I don't understand. Psychologically, they feel better because they're actually believing that the government is going to give them a free education from the pre-K all the way through college, forgive all their loan debt, guarantee them a job out of college, guarantee them a wage out of college, guarantee them health care out of college and all through their lives, cradle to grave, womb to the tomb. Then they're going to give them also guaranteed government healthy food, guaranteed government retirement, guaranteed free everything. So maybe psychologically that appeals to them. Here's the question.
Sean, let me ask you, but let me just bring this up. You grew up painting houses down the street from where I grew up in Rhode Island. You now have multiple best-selling books. You've got a wildly popular and successful TV show, radio show, and you're on the president's speed dial. In the book, you lay out what it's at stake. Would young Sean Hannity be where Sean Hannity is now if we get a Biden in?
No, no way, not possible. Because with the promises of socialism also comes the statist mentality. You're talking about everything Donald Trump did to shatter every employment record for every demographic group in the country, they will undo. The reason Donald Trump, more than any other reason, needs to be reelected is so he can cement in the changes first that he made in his first term, and also prevent them from doing the stated things that they will do. If everything that Joe Biden and these radical socialists say they will do, America becomes unrecognizable. It is predictable failure. That's the history of socialism that I'm talking about here. And I'm just saying to everybody that might believe that, well, what does government do well so now? Tell me what they do well. Right. Because as I look at cities like New York City and Chicago and Portland and Seattle and Los Angeles and San Francisco, okay, the one thing they all have in common is they've been run by liberal Democrats for decades. They're not even maintaining simple law and order. It's not safe and secure for children in these liberal cities. It's just not. Every weekend we're going to get a tally. How many people were shot in Chicago? How many people were shot in New York? How safe was the Summer of Love zone out in Seattle? 60, whatever many days. We've had, over 2,000 cops injured. 14 of them are dead. You have old ladies in New York City literally getting clobbered on the streets of New York, knocked to the ground. I've aired that videotape a lot. And so they haven't done safety and security well. Another failure of all of these liberal mayors and governors for decades, look at their educational systems. It's the worst in the entire world. We spend more per capita per student than anyone in the industrialized world, Sean Spicer, and we have the worst results. Baltimore has 13 public high schools, and not a single child in those public high schools is proficient in math. You can't fail more spectacularly if you even set out to fail, which God only knows why would we do that. Okay, right. How's that Obamacare thing working out, Sean Spicer? Because millions lost their doctors, millions lost their plans, and all of us are paying on average about 200% more. So now we're going to double down with more Obamacare or Medicare for all, whatever they want to call it. How's that work? How's the post office working for you? The only thing that really works well, that the government does well because of discipline, is a military. So,
by the way, that's the same post office. That's the same post office that we're all now going to supposedly be using to make sure our ballots are safely and securely. And I think the president's been rightly pointing out the concerns he has. Sean, let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. You are, as I mentioned, all the things and the success that you've had. It's very public facing, but I think, at least I'm reading this right, you tend to be a very private person, as am I. I mean, it's amazing the two of us, you way more than me, have public facing lifestyles, but seem to be very private people. Is that an accurate read? Do you sort of, how do you balance that?
I'll be very blunt. When you're a public figure and you have, let's say, whatever percentage of the country, they actually hate Sean Hannity. They hate Sean Spicer. They don't like us. And I've been very blessed. I got two wonderful children. I just am a private person. You know what I am? They're both really high performing athletes. So I spent most of my weekends in Courtyard Marriott's or, a Hilton hotel somewhere that gave you maybe free breakfast if you're lucky. And traveling around the country with them. That's another reason why I haven't written a book in 10 years, because I wanted to, see my kids off to college. My son's now a senior. My daughter is now going to college actually in 2 weeks. She's a freshman. And I'm just proud of them. I hate the fact that my public life sometimes does intrude into their life. I didn't want that for them. They're their own people. I'm very proud of both of them. I've been really blessed with great kids. And so it's just not who I am. I am a private person. I'm I have a lot of friends. None of them really, not a lot of them are in this industry. And right. So, all the salt of the earth people that I grew up with, those are my close friends. I'm still friends with my best friend in the world, John Gomez, from 3rd grade. And we went to grammar and high school together and got in a lot of trouble together. It was all his fault. He led the way. I just followed. That's when I learned not to be a follower.
I know that feeling.
But you know what? I don't get the whole idea that people want to share their lives on social media every second of every day. Look at me on the beach. Look at me swimming. You like my new swimsuit. What do you think of my new hairdo? What do you think? I'm like, what are these people doing? Now, to me, I'm just not interested in it. Gossip sells. I will say this. If you want to know the truth, I'm a loser. I am a recluse. I'm a hermit, and I am a total loser. I do like to go out to eat with friends.
Look, you're a pretty successful loser, if that's what a loser is. But I'll tell you, look, I appreciate you doing the show. I appreciate you always being so supportive of me, even if you did harass me a little for that shirt and a couple of the other outfits. I wish you the greatest success with this book. You have been a true supporter, gentleman, mentor, and I really thank you for that. And I wish you the best of success with this next bestseller.
I am ecstatic for you. I'm happy for you. We need more conservative voices, not fewer conservative voices. We've become good friends. I think the world of you. I'm happy for you. Look, Hannity.com, Amazon.com. It's actually 34% off today if people want to get it, which I don't want. Pay less and pass it around. Don't buy 2 copies. Just read it fast and give it to a friend. Give it to a liberal friend. They might burn it, though. But you should be really proud of all you've done. You've taken a lot of crap from the media, and you've handled it with grace and style. And thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thank you. All right, well, Governor Cuomo wants rich people to come back to New York City, but will they return considering his poor handling of COVID-19? Congressman Lee Zeldin of New York is going to give us his take on that. And then unemployment checks for